Hi everyone, Kathy Beltran with Sacred Dance with Trance. I'm so excited, so grateful to have Jo Bradley here. She is a physical medium from London, UK. So grateful to have her here because we are going to talk about all of her work that she does. I mean, she sent me so many things. I researched her. I saw all these beautiful things that she does with photographs. Her pictures are just crazy. They're so beautiful. I'm so grateful to have you here, Jo Bradley. Everyone,
hello. Hiya, thank you, Kathy.
Oh my God, thank you so much again. I wanted to start out and ask you, what inspired you on your journey? How did you start? Where did the passion start for you?
Well, I've always heard and seen spirits since the age of 4. I had the classic imaginary friend. My mother didn't encourage or discourage, really. She was clairvoyant, although she never did anything with her own gift. When I went to school, it kind of petered out because, you know, the teachers are kind of saying to you, who are you talking to? Mm-hmm. Well, I'm talking to my friend. Well, there's no one there. I went through life, obviously, raised a family, had my own business, and then all of a sudden, my world kind of crashed around me, really, and I started to withdraw within myself, kind of lost myself really for a little while, and then one day I decided that I'd phone a psychic line. You know, people laugh at me, they go, well, you're a medium, why did you phone a psychic line? Because we all need guidance sometimes. Mm-hmm. And the lady on the other end of the phone said, I can't connect with you. And I said, what do you mean you can't connect with me? I was very annoyed, very disappointed. Mm-hmm. And she said, all I can say to you is they're waiting for you at college. And I said, what college? And, you know, I hadn't been to college when I was younger. Mm-hmm. So eventually I ended up at the College of Psychic Studies in London. And I was tutored by Tony Stockwell. Don't know if you, street psychic. Brilliant, brilliant man. And it was he that said to me, took me aside one day, and he said to me, you're a physical medium. And I said, oh, that's nice, darling. What's that? Never heard of the term. And he said, well, you know, go home, research it. And that's kind of how it started for me. So I came home and I spoke to a friend and I said, apparently I'm a physical medium. She said, what is it? I said, I don't know. So I looked at pictures on the internet, which I thought was absolutely gross. I was like, good God, you know, what's going on here? Yes. But I'd always had kind of electrical disturbances, but to me that was normal. I'd grown up with it, it was normal. And anyway, my friend said to me one day, well, shall we kind of sit down around a table then and see what happens? So I said, okay. So we had a couple of other friends over and we sat around a table, a card table. We just got a candle alight. And all of a sudden, this black mass suddenly appeared on the table from in front of me. It came up from underneath. And this hand formed. And I was watching this. I mean, I should have been frightened, really, Kathy. I've never seen anything like this before. But I wasn't. I was absolutely mesmerized. And I thought, good God. So, of course, I'm watching this, but this hand is moving across the table towards one of the other girls. And she screamed. Wow. And it suddenly just sunk and disappeared into the table. And I said, why did you scream? She said, it was coming my direction. Oh. I went, oh, yeah, okay, good point, good point. But to me, it was absolutely fascinating. So, but I'm very black and white. I have to be able to see things. If I can't see it, it's not real. So, and that's really kind of how the physical stuff began.
Wow. And that's amazing because see how you said that you did, you know, with Tony telling you that, and you're not sure what that is exactly. That's what a lot of we don't know. We just see physical mediums. Okay, let's Google that. What is that? We see the pictures like, oh my gosh. So I completely relate to what you said because I'm like, whoa. Wow, so that is super, super interesting that this happened to you and that they wouldn't be able to read you because you had to be at a certain place before all that opened up.
That's what I think. Yes, that's what I think.
So you've been on this journey for quite some time now.
Yes, since, 12, 13 years, something like that with the physical. Wow. Yes. But I've been quite lucky because lots of things have just kind of manifested I didn't really have to do a great deal of work, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Things would just literally happen. And of course, it was, I suppose, the spirit team just trying to really draw me in and go, look, you know, this is what we can do. And lots of people would sort of say to me, what is it? I go, well, I don't know. Well, how did it happen? I don't know. But of course, the more it happened, the more I wanted to understand and the more I wanted to move forward. Spirit photography, for instance, I was running a workshop one day and I took a photograph and it was the classic spirit extra. And I got so excited. I was, oh my God. And I do. And that's the thing. I still get really, really excited when new phenomena starts up. But as soon as it does start up, I then have to start learning and understanding it. So, yeah. So with the spirit photography, I never know if I'm going to take a picture and whether a loved one's going to be in it or not. Can never make a guarantee with it. But it's more than just orbs. It's actual faces, people's faces that they recognize. So, yeah. So that's kind of how it all started.
Oh my goodness. And that's what I wanted to talk about, your work with photography and the pictures that I've seen of yours. I'm like, wow, it's just so amazing to me. So I know what you mean about anytime, like when I'm talking with you, I just can't help but get excited. I'm going to absolutely have to watch this interview again because I'm just, you know, like this.
Oh, bless you.
I wanted to talk to you about your work, the work that you're doing now, your research, you know, the online stuff, everything.
Well, at the moment, we're doing some Skype experiments. There is a wonderful man, he's a retired scientist called Norman Hutt, who actually co-wrote my first book. And we decided that, I mean, when you look at physical mediumship up on the internet or you read in a book, they say it has to be done in darkness. No, it doesn't. You can't record it, you can't video it, you can't take photographs. Why not? If it's real, then you should be able to record it. So, of course, a lot of the work has been about recording it, getting people to photograph me when I'm doing the work and this type of thing to get the actual evidence. And then, of course, we got the voice box, the ectoplasmic voice box, videoed in white light. So I don't really like the word, no, you can't, or the phrase, no, you can't. Yes, you can. Yes. And Spirit wanted us to get the evidence. So we decided with Skype experiments that there are people all over the world that never have access to physical mediumship. And I said to Norman one day, wouldn't it be great if I could log on to Skype, someone could Skype me from Australia or America or wherever. I simply sit in my seance room with the red light on and their own loved ones through independent direct voice can speak to them using the voice box. And he said, yeah. He said, knowing you, he said, you'll want to try it. I said, well, yeah, I do want to try it. So we've been doing these experiments for a year. There are a couple of other people now as well that have joined in as witnesses. And also, it proves that a circle of people can come together and you can sit in separate countries. The energy is still taken from spirit. You know, they come and collect it. So the distance, it proves that you don't have to have a circle where people sit in the same room. So you could form a circle. There could be 5 or 6 of you in, you know, all around the world, all logged onto Skype, and you're still a circle. They still collect all the energy. So that was a big thing for me because I needed to prove to other people, you know, even if you live in a remote place, you can still have a circle. That's, you know, but it's taken them a year. They've now manifested a silver object in my mouth at each sitting. They say they've had to build a circuit. Yes, they can use the voice box and the red light is fine, but adding the computer in and whatever comes from that, sorry, I'm not a scientific person, so I've no idea, but whatever comes from that, it's very difficult for them to use all the technology to get the sound out. So they've now created this object, which they manifest within a few seconds now in my mouth, which looks like silver. Norman Hutt, being an ex-scientist, said, well, actually, that makes sense with it being silver, something to do with electricity. So we're very, very hopeful that, you know, a few people are going to benefit from this quite soon.
Well, you know what? I hope. I mean, I was privileged to see some of these photos of yours. And I sure hope that you're able to share this. At least, are these photos that you sent me, are they from your webpage?
No, they're on my Facebook page.
Oh my goodness, great.
Yeah, so anyone can log onto my Facebook page and they can just go through my photos.
We absolutely want to have members do that because they're amazing when you see these pictures and you'll be like, what? I wanted to talk about, I love that you brought up not having to do the work in the dark.
Yeah.
Because everybody does believe that you have to sit in the dark.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you realize that you don't have to sit in a physical home circle. You can do this online, because a lot of members question whether this can be done. And I personally do an online one. And so I feel that I've seen that energy. So I know that it can be done. So I'm so grateful to you.
I think what people forget is when they talk about physical circles, they go about the old scientists, you know, that used to be involved back in the heyday. Yes, of course, they're still working with the circles from the spirit side, but we've got all the modern day scientists that have passed over as well. So you've got all the modern day scientists over there that understand, you know, computers and all our modern gadgetry. So spirit don't, you know, they don't lapse behind us. They keep up with us. In actual fact, they're far more advanced than us. But what I mean to say is we, you know, physical mediumship has to change and keep up with the times and use the modern equipment that we've got. That's why it's here.
Yes.
You know, so people do forget. They go, oh, well, you know, that's how it used to be done. Yes, it is. They don't, you know, what they've achieved, they can do again. So look back in the history books. There's photographs of Florence Cook materializations. There's Leslie Flint had his voice box photoed, which I think was infrared. And today you look at most of the PMs and they say, well, you can't photograph it, you can't film it. Spirit do not go back. What they've done once, they do again, plus more. So I don't even know where this modern day, you have to sit in the dark and you can't film or take photographs. I don't know where that's come from. I find it quite frustrating.
Well, I like it because there's like the pioneer way. And now with all this new technology, there's like a new way because they have to evolve to something with what we're working with now.
Yeah.
And I love that because it reaches so many. Being able to do it online, have that base with the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely amazing. I mean, so many people are going to love hearing this from you because they send me messages and I'm like, you know what? I can only tell you my experience. This is how I feel. But, you know, I hope to get somebody on here that can really share their experience and validate that. So this is wonderful news. I wanted to talk about your development. So many members are very interested in this work. And, you know, I want them to have an idea of what it takes. I know, can anybody be a physical medium?
No, you have to have the right physicality. I did ask my guides about this once. They said roughly 1 in every 100,000 has the right physicality. Out of that, a very, very small group of people will actually sit for it because perhaps they've been brought up in a very strict Catholic background and aren't allowed to go near it. Others will be complete and utter cynics and they go, it's a load of rubbish, I'm not doing that. And if phenomena started around them, they'd just put it down to imagination or coincidence. So there are very, very few, unfortunately. Yes. Saying that, I do teach and obviously I run retreats so that the energy can be still experienced by people that probably can't sit and develop it for themselves, but they can still have an experience, maybe transfiguration and this type of thing. So it's very important for me that other people do experience it so they know it's real and they know the feelings that come with it as well, because it can be quite a lonely pathway being a physical medium, because you meet lots of people that are quite egotistical. They don't mean to be, perhaps, but you know, so sometimes you feel almost saddened that, you know, there's this ego and this jealousy that's going on, and the physical effects that actually a physical medium goes through sometimes are very, very unpleasant. You know, I've been through some very unpleasant things, excuse me. And so it's not really, it's just a very isolating journey, I think, at times, because You know, if you say to someone, well, oh gosh, you know, I've been suffering this just recently, they go, well, it's your choice, you don't have to do it. And that's their ego. And sometimes you just want someone to give you a cuddle and go, yeah, I understand that. You know, it must be quite difficult. So it is, it's a very difficult journey, but it's a very rewarding journey. But this is also why I was insistent that we always had to use cameras and videos and this type of thing, yes. You know, because when I'm sat there in the chair, I don't necessarily see it, mm-hmm. You know, so I need the proof for my own mind that I'm not actually deluded and sitting there and wasting everybody else's time.
And I love that. I love that. And, but, you know, you talked about jealousy and you know what, that's so shameful to me because, you know, when I see people's work, I run it through my heart. I mean, I know because I feel it from my guides. I know that this is genuine. And, but to have the jealousy, I think that's so shameful. I really do.
Well, the way I look upon it, Kathy, is why be jealous? If people are willing to devote their time, and I have devoted a lot of time to this, you would get to see the benefit of it. So, you know, there isn't exclusion as far as I'm concerned, you know, but I don't know, people have it in their minds that, you know, the best job in the room is to be the physical medium. Why? The best job actually is to enjoy the communication that comes. That's the best job. And when I have direct voice or independent direct voice, I enjoy that too because I'm fully conscious. My body is held in a state where I can't move from my neck down. But when they're talking, I'm holding a conversation with them too. And that to me is very joyous. And I don't get people when they say, well, I want to be the physical medium. Okay. If you want to. But, you know, you're going to have to make sure you put the time in. Well, I don't have the time. I can't devote my time to sit to give to a group. But, you know, I want to be the PM. Okay. Wow. I don't get it.
Wow. You mentioned earlier about experiencing physical effects as you're developing. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. I woke up one early hours once, and it was when I was still at the College of Psychic Studies, so I was being tutored under Tony. And as I woke up, there was this very long thing protruding out of my mouth. Wow. A long, thin thing. Now, it was a full moon. I don't sleep with my curtains shut, so literally the moonlight was streaming onto my bed. So I could see this long thing, and I laid there thinking, what on earth is that? But I was at the same time absolutely rigid. I thought, don't move. I don't know what it is, just don't move. And as I'm sort of coming to, this thing is starting to move gradually back into my mouth. And after it had gone, I laid there for probably about another 20 seconds. And then I sat up and I thought, oh God, okay, I'm okay. Don't know what that was. Oh, yeah, I'm fine. It's okay. But before that had happened, Tony actually said to me, well, it was a psychic rod, an ectoplasmic rod. But before that had happened, I used to wake up every night choking. And I mean choking. Terrible choking dreams. And it was where the guides were practicing drawing ectoplasm in and out and this type of thing. But I literally, and it got to a point where I was fearful to go to bed. Oh, wow. Because I thought, I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to sleep, so I'm going to be choking again. So there are all sorts of things, really. You can become really sensitive to certain things. Your emotions can go all over the place. You know, one minute you're laughing with your friends, the next minute you're crying uncontrollably. All of these things, really.
Wow. And I love how you said that because as I've talked to other people, they mention, and I've read this as well, that guides come in when you're sleeping to work with you.
Yes, they do. They come in and adjust you.
Yes, yes.
Yes, they do.
So that is amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about more of your work with independent voice and direct voice. What exactly is that?
Independent direct voice is where you get a voice just from mid-space, anywhere in the room. So it could come from up near the ceiling. And it's a voice, actually, the ectoplasmic voice box, they will actually project their voice into that. But it's almost like they shoot a speaker off into the room, and they'll move the end of the speaker around until they find almost like a good reception, so that everyone can then hear them. Direct voice is where there is a trumpet, a spirit trumpet flying around the room, and the voice will speak through the trumpet. Strangely, the rarest is independent direct voice, and that was what we had in our circle before direct voice. But you would think it would be the other way around. You know, you think of it, them picking up a trumpet, moving it around, and then speaking through it. That would be far greater, you know, more difficult for them to get up. But it isn't. I don't know why, but it isn't.
Wow. So yes, that is absolutely amazing. I've seen the pictures of the voice box that was created.
Yeah.
I know that with development with you, was it fast? Did this just happen so quickly, or did you
27 months.
7 months? Wow.
Yeah, 27 months.
Wow, 27 months. So is it important to just, I want to talk more about the development with others. Would it be that important to sit for spirit every day, sit once a week, once a month?
Sit in the power every day. Definitely sit in the power every day. Our home circle sits once a week.
Once a week.
Without fail, once a week.
Wow.
When we first started, we did actually sit 3 times a week, and then we dropped it to twice a week. And now, several years later, we still sit every week for our own personal development, because the circle, like everything, has to keep evolving.
Yes.
And of course, they practice new phenomena and this type of thing in the home circle.
That is amazing. So what is your interpretation? A lot of people ask this, and everybody has a little bit of a different answer, and it's beautiful. What is your interpretation of sitting in the power?
Well, you're literally just quieting your mind. You're listening to your breath. And you're very aware of who you are, your vibrations. And also, when I sit in the power, it actually reminds me that I'm just a tiny speck in this vast universe.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful.
But I'm also a strong advocate of every form of mediumship, every form, trance, even physical, is connected to your mind. So the greater you are at being an actual mental medium, the greater your trance and the greater your physical will be, because you're finely tuned. And the more finely tuned the instrument is, the more evidence they can actually bring through on a physical level, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
So whenever anybody's starting to look at, when I run my seminar, we do like a week seminar where I have a trance medium, who's Freddie Valentine, who's extraordinary, and I take obviously the physical classes. And I always say to them, I work with intention. So we set the intention, right? We're sitting today for transfiguration. We're sitting today for direct voice. We're sitting for any type of phenomena. So you have to be really, really clear in the direction that you give spirit. But I always say to them, don't let your mental mediumship lapse. Keep going with that. Keep developing. Keep sitting in the power to become the best channel you can be. Because the better you are for that, the better you will be for trance and physical. Wow. And it's just one of those things that I always say.
Wow, that's beautiful. And you know what? Here we go again, because typically I always have all the questions and I'm like, oh, well, goodness, she's answered 1 through 7 in one moment. I love that, because Spirit knows exactly what I'm going to ask. Would you, with every time you sit, would you work on just one thing in that sitting, like with your intention of saying, I'm going to work, our intention is to sit and do transfiguration. Would you do transfiguration?
Not in my home circle. Not in my home circle. In the home circle, it's very much about them kind of experimenting and moving it on. I run a 26-week course, a physical mediumship course, and the attendees, when they come, there is no trance. So the intention is we do not use trance. It is direct communication. So I think last week we had a floating head. There was tubes coming up from my head and another sitter's head. So But then I might run an evening where I do a transfiguration demonstration at my home. So it really depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll break it down. Sometimes it's just whatever your communication or phenomenon you'd like to do. But we always set the intention, always.
See, I wanted to talk about that. Usually I say, how important is that intention?
Crucial. In my opinion, crucial.
Crucial, okay.
Yeah.
Do you practice a form of protection, or is that just with prayer?
Always with prayer.
Okay.
Actually, always with prayer. I have a very strong mind, and so my mind, it really is protection as well. You know, my mindset is very strong. I'm very protective of White Eagle. He's a bouncer. He's regularly seen throughout the house. He's nearly 7 foot tall. Nobody really argues with him. You know, I'm a great believer. Some people will contact me and they'll go, "Oh, I keep being bothered at night." I say, well, your best protection is your voice. So if you're being bothered at night or wherever you go, sit up in bed and boom your voice out. Get away from me. So if you walked up to someone in the street and you were crying and, "Oh, can you help me?" the person is going to wrap their arms around you and go, "Of course I will." So if you go up to someone in the street and you're shouting and screaming, they pull away from you. And I said, you have to do the same with spirit, really.
Yes.
You know, so your voice is your best protection.
And, you know, that's beautiful because a lot of members, including myself, that happened to me. I had to actually say it and yell it, actually, just to, you know, put my boundaries up. So, yes, that's beautiful. You mentioned your course, the 26-week one. Is this something that you do in physically, or is this online as well?
No, it's actually at my home.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
See, so many people.
And next year's is already full.
Wow.
And I think our seminar, we've only got a couple of places on our residential seminar next year as well.
Wow. I wanted to ask you, is it important when you first started out, when somebody first starts developing, is it important to invite spirit to blend with you?
Yes.
To give them permission?
Yeah. Yeah, because we work as a team.
Yes.
Always as a team.
Always as a team.
Which is why it's also important, you know, when you say, "That's it, I finished for the day," that they step back. You know, you have to have great trust with your team, especially when you're working on trance or a physical level, especially with physical, because otherwise, you know, if they manifest in the room, they can physically do damage to you. Not long term, but, you know, you might get a trumpet wrapped around your ear or something like that. So you have to be really, really firm and say, "Right, I'm ready to work. Now protect me. Thank you. Now step back." So it's a two-way street with them, definitely. And yes, I have had a sitter hit with a trumpet.
Oh my goodness.
It flew through the air. It flew through the air. I had a sitter who was, I shouldn't probably really say this, but I had a sitter who was messing about a little bit. And I said, "If you don't stop it," I said, "I'll pick that trumpet up and I'll give you a good smack with it." And the trumpet flew up in the air, flew across the room, and he got 2 sharp whack, whack. Couldn't hurt him. He was more shocked than anything. And the rest of the sitters, of course, laughed. But, so you should always be very careful what you say when you're working in a physical environment as well.
Yes. Oh, wow. I wanted to ask you, when you were in your circle, how long did it take before you started to experience phenomena? Was this
week one?
Week one, wow.
We were very lucky. At the time, we used to have to blacken out my living room. And my ex-husband, who is still my circle leader today, made a makeshift cabinet. Now, bearing in mind, Kathy, you know, I'm told I'm a physical medium, but I've not got a clue what that means back then. I've not got a clue how I'm supposed to sit. So what we did was we took guidance from the internet, and it said you sit in a blacked out room and you have a table and maybe a bit of luminous light on it. And so that's what we did, week one. So my ex-husband made this makeshift cabinet, and we put a dining room chair in it, and I go into the cabinet and I'm sat there twiddling my thumbs. Okay, what do I do? So I kept calling out. There was 7 friends sat in the room. They had got the card table, which they put luminous paint on the corners. And I sat there and I said, what am I supposed to do? They said, well, we have no idea. Just sit there. So I said, okay. And as I finished speaking, one of the sitters said, oh, the table's levitating.
Wow.
And it rose about 3 foot in the air and stayed there the entire sitting.
Wow.
And then it came back down again. And they said, well, I think we must close the circle now then, because they've brought the table back down. So we were really, really lucky. We had phenomena right from week one.
Wow. And see, I like
However, saying that, a lot of circles, and the same with ours, is you will find that phenomena will happen to show that your group maybe has potential to be developed. But then it will go very, very quiet, sometimes for months on end, where nothing seems to happen in the room. But actually, that's where the greatest development is taking place behind the scenes. People forget, as a group, you produce one amount of energy per sitting. So they can either use that in the room to bring through the evidence or use it for phenomena, or they have to use that energy behind the scenes to develop the next stage. Then once they've developed it, they'll bring it back into the room and you'll see. So people should never kind of think, oh, well, nothing's happening. A great deal's happening.
And
So
I love that, because they say that there's lots of, you know, when you're sitting and you don't experience anything, there's work being done in the background. You just don't know.
Absolutely. They have to be able to practice it behind the scenes, and then they bring it into the room to make sure actually that it can either be seen or heard.
Wow.
You know, and so of course that week when they show you, well, look, actually we've been quiet because this is what we've done. Here you go, look what we can do now. Then everybody goes, oh wow, you know. Then it will go quiet again where they're moving it forward again, and the energy is being used behind the scenes, like backstage. Then it's brought back in again. So people should never get bored or worried or think that their circle, you know, oh well, nothing's happening, because it probably is.
Probably is. Wow. How did it feel the first time, if you can remember? How did it feel to blend with spirit for the first time?
Absolutely awful.
Wow.
Awful. Painful. I felt like my body was about to burst open. I felt like someone was actually stepping inside my physical body. And I felt myself being stretched and pulled, and in my mind it was very confusing. I could hear someone talking, but I was having a row with them in my mind. Like, who are you? They're not talking to you, they're talking to, who are you? You know, so it was very, I can't say I'm a natural trance medium at all, you know. So yeah, but that's the honest truth. Yeah, most uncomfortable.
Most people say that as well when it first happens for them.
Right. Okay.
Do you feel that that a part of us remains, our consciousness remains in you know, when we're in trance? Yeah.
When people are developing trance, and you've obviously got a lot of really good trance mediums that you've already interviewed. Sadly, I've only been able to watch one video so far because I've been a bit busy. But my own understanding is with trance, when a blending or an overshadowing, it's the overshadowing really to start off with. It's a very, although we think it's absolute full trance because we've never experienced it before, it's probably 99% us and 1% of the spirit that's blending with us. And obviously over weeks, months, years, that blending becomes more and more. My guides always say to me, to develop a really, really good trance medium takes on average 7 years.
Wow. Wow.
How true that is, I don't know. But I can only ever relay what they say to me.
You talked about White Eagle.
Yeah.
And this is your guide.
He's my bouncer.
Your bouncer. I love that. I love that. I love that.
He does take great care of the circle. He heads our circle, our physical circle. And he is not afraid of ejecting anyone on spirit side.
Wow.
Because obviously, you know, not everyone who's on the other side are particularly nice. So he does make sure that he is a good bouncer, and really only allows through the souls connected with someone in the room.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Should there be harmony? You know, I wanted to talk about, you know, a lot of people are going to start forming those circles because they hear this now and they know that they can do this online. So there was a lot of questioning about that. How important is it to have harmony between members of a circle?
Oh, absolutely crucial. In actual fact, my second book that I wrote, called Pathway to Spirit, in the back of that book, I've written a guide for people that actually want to set up a circle. Now, the sitters are the most crucial element of a circle. You could have a medium, a physical medium, who has the best potential that we've ever seen. And if they don't have the right sitters, they will never develop.
Wow.
That's how important the sitters are. There should be no ego. You shouldn't have people that are newly bereaved. That's a biggie, actually. People go, well, I'll be fine. Actually, no, you won't, because bereavement to me it's like an illness. You know, it's a physical pain that we feel. And no matter how developed you are or who you are, when we go through bereavement, we miss that physical touch. We want that bridge. So when you sit in a physical circle, if you are newly bereaved, your thoughts will automatically go for your loved one. Are you here? I hope you're here. The other sitters have a natural desire to want to help the bereaved. So their mindset will be, oh, come on, try and come through for her or him. Doesn't work. It's a development circle. So the mindset of the sitters should be, you know, anyone who wishes to connect with us initially. So I always say, if you're bereaved, you should be stepping out until you are suitably past that bereavement, in order to be clear-minded and not focus on your loved one.
Wow. Yes.
Because the work, as you're developing, that's who we want to help, are the bereaved. But the bereaved are not suitable to sit and help a developing group.
That's good. And you know what, you did mention, you have 2 books out and 1 currently in the making. Can you talk about the books real quick? Because I do want to add those into the comments.
Yep. Spirit in the Physical is the first book. Both of the books are available on Amazon, actually. Spirit in the Physical was co-written by Norman Hutt, who is the scientist, the ex-scientist. And it's actually about a lot of the phenomena that they kept doing around me and to other people while I was there to kind of draw me in. It was about drawing me in, getting my attention and going, come on, let's sit. So that's what a lot of that is. I do get a lot of people write to me and they go, oh my God, I had to stay up all night and read the book because I couldn't put it down halfway through. I was too scared to.
Oh my goodness.
But then when they read it, they go, actually, it wasn't scary, but I couldn't leave it in the middle. I had to finish it to the end. Because to some people, if they've not experienced some of the phenomena, they might go, oh my God.
Yes.
But actually, when you're there and you're experiencing it, you're going, oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay. The second book was written solely by myself, Pathway to Spirit, and it actually charts my development as a physical medium. Mm-hmm. So it talks about workshops and it talks about my actual personal development. And then at the end, there is this guide to help others. But what I do say to people, if they are sitting to want to develop, read the book. If it resonates, then adopt whatever it is. If it doesn't, reject it, because we are all different. We are all different. So our teams will always work with us differently.
Beautiful.
Then I'm also writing a third book at the moment called The Weird and the Wonderful. And there are a few pretty hairy experiences in this book, you know, but there are also some very beautiful experiences in there as well. So it's, you know, I kind of got the reader, oh my God, and then, oh, how lovely. Oh my God, with the book, really.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to read those books. I am definitely, please post them in the comments.
Will do. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Do you find that as you were developing, that do different guides come in different work, or there's just one guide that does
Not so much with the physical. You have a team. So we have 7 main guides that work in our circle, but over 150 other souls that work in the backstage of the circle. So physical circles, you generally get well over 100 souls that will work. I then have Thomas, who works with me if I'm on a platform delivering messages. So yes, I have different guides outside the circle, but inside the circle, it's a team.
Beautiful. Wow, that's a lot of.
I don't know them all personally. I wish I did.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. Do you sit in your cabinet?
No.
Every time? No.
No, I don't sit in a cabinet.
No. Okay.
Used to, first couple of years. And then after that, they said, no, come out, sit in the room. So everyone can see me. Yeah.
I love that. You know what? I really love your attitude when you say, when somebody tells you no, no, you can't do that. You're like, why? I can.
Yeah.
I love that.
Why not? Don't tell me I can't. I'm going to have a go. And if I can, I can. And if I can't, I can't.
I totally relate to that, because in the beginning with me, someone would say, oh, you know what? You can't get any information for yourself. I'm like, why? Yeah. And
in actual fact, everything that quite lucky, everything I've attempted to do with the physical, we've done. So in actual fact, the boundaries aren't set there from spirit side. It's us humans that set the boundaries. Wow. You know, we're the ones that put the boundaries there and go, we can't do it. Watch me. So we do. So there are no boundaries from spirit. You know, they're keen to get it out there. They want everyone to know you survive your physical body's death. End of.
Wow. Are you going to continue doing your photography? Is this something that you're going to be doing forever?
I don't particularly set out to do spirit photography. It's just that obviously when I run workshops and things, I do photographs so that the students can see, you know, this is actually what happened to you while you were sitting there. And of course, you know, someone's dad might come in, or ex-husband or whatever, just come in the photograph. So it's not something, it's just the classic extras, spirit extras. But people will send me photographs and they go, well, I'm a spirit photographer like you, Joe. I take orbs. Okay. Which is fabulous. But when I don't capture pictures of orbs. If I capture a picture of a spirit extra, it's a person's face. So I might say to someone, I've just took your photo, who's that? And they go, good God, that's my dad. Wow. Okay, fine. What we did have was once, I was running a workshop, and we were sat in a circle at the time, and I just suddenly started to take random pictures of students. I said, can I take a few pictures? Yes, they said. And I took a picture of the lady sat next to me. When I got home, I uploaded it to my computer, and it wasn't the lady. There was this man. And I thought, good God, who are you? You weren't even at the workshop. And it was obviously a spirit extra. He'd put his head in between me and the sitter. So I uploaded the picture onto my Facebook page. I'll tag you, Kathy, so you can see.
Okay, perfect.
I uploaded the picture and I said, anybody know who this chap is? Norman Hutt saw the picture, was pacing, phoned me the next day and said, that's my brother. Wow. So what do you mean it's your brother? He said, it's my brother. So I'll send you a picture. So, but you weren't even at the workshop. He said, I know. But it was. He sent me a picture of his brother, and it was absolutely his brother. About a week later, I had a message from a profiler. And he said, I'm actually a professional profiler. He said, and I've compared the two. He said, they are exact match. He said, that is that man's brother. Wow. So, you know, they're quite clever.
Yes. Oh my God. You guys all have to check out her page, because there's so many photos on there, and it's just so amazing when you see them. Just beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They are so cool. They are so cool. You know, I want to talk about the voice box again, because I want to backtrack. I want to make sure I'm covering all ground here. When I saw that video of it forming, it was like, oh my gosh. Did that take a long time for Spirit to build that? Or
no, it took about 2 years, I think. Maybe not that long. Can't remember actually, Kathy. But the video was filmed in white light. So Norman Hutt had actually said to me one day, can I come over and do a series of experiments with you? He said, and film it. I said, yes, fine. He said, I'll send you over it. I said, don't tell me what experiments, just come. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. So we spent a whole day sitting in the seance room, and he used red light and he used white light. And obviously I had no idea at that point actually that they would do that. So actually that was quite a shock to me. Oh, good God, you've, you know, it's white light. But of course, I've always worked within the light. So to me, that was just spirit saying, look, there are no boundaries. Here you go. Here's the voice box. And when you listen to it, it makes a clicky noise. It's a click, 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 click. And I think that's actually them trying to pass the air through to actually use it while we were videoing. But it's only a 2-minute video.
Wow. Well, I'm sure hoping that the members see that video as well, because it's.
You can post the link. You know, it's on YouTube. You can post the link, Kathy. It's fun.
Absolutely do that. But you know, when you said, oh, it only took 2 years. See, this is the things I wanted people to understand, that, you know, when you had that one experience with you for the first week, that was them drawing you in. That was definitely letting you know that, yes, this is an ability that you have, that you're built to do this. But it also takes that, the patience, the perseverance, and practicing, staying, and the dedication to sit for spirit in this way. And so when you said 2 years, I was like, oh yeah, that's not, yes, that's a long time for some people, thinking they could maybe manifest this as a physical medium, like in 1 month. You know, I really want them to know that they do have to sit, that it is important to sit and sit in the power. And I love how,
I mean, we were quite like, I mean, we were getting phenomena, different types of phenomena. You know, the table rose. Then we might get a couple of reports drop in, this type of thing. So they will keep giving you odd bits of phenomena to kind of give you a bit of an excitement. You know, you need encouragement. So they will do odd bits and pieces. Here goes a bit of encouragement. We'll do that for them. Right, then they know we're still working behind the scenes. Physical, though, is, you know, it takes a long time to develop it. And also, you can get a change of sitters. We've had change of sitters that puts the circle back, this type of thing. So, yeah. So what I would say to people, if you are going to join a physical circle, or you are a PM yourself, make sure you get the right sitters. Don't have to keep stopping and starting because you're having to change the sitters, or the sitters go, oh, I can't be bothered anymore. You know, if you can get the sitters right from week 1, that's half the battle.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You mentioned apports. You mentioned that. Exactly what is that?
An apport is an object that spirit will bring to you, either from a different location, or maybe from within your home, but not in the seance room. I was very lucky because we get a lot of apports in the daylight here. You'll be sat here and they just drop from the ceiling and that type of thing. And there was a 2-day period when I got up one morning and apports suddenly started to arrive. They were handwritten notes. There was 21 of them in all. I've got them all in a you know, folder. And every time I asked a question, so they'd bring me another note. So not only are they apports, but they obviously also display direct writing, which is when spirit manifests their own writing. And also they were produced on paper that I didn't have in this house. So they were obviously going and nicking paper out of someone's notebook, writing the answers, and then just dropping them in.
Wow, that is so amazing to me. I mean, yes, a lot of people are going to be asking questions once they watch this interview. So, but it's amazing. I love the work that you do. I love how you decided, it was almost like a scientific approach, because you wanted to.
Oh, it's scientific, yeah.
Yes, you wanted to make it.
Even now, scientific approach to it, yeah.
Beautiful.
Has to be, really.
I'm so glad that I had you on here. And I remember us talking, you're like, well, I'm not sure if you'd be really interested. I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course I would be. I'm so very grateful. Lastly, I know you kind of gave a bit of advice. Is there anything else that you could tell members, that if they're interested in this way, any last bit of advice for them to start out?
I think it's really important for people to sit in the power and to try and get a connection with whoever is with them, as in a guide. Sometimes I'll sit in meditation and people laugh at me, Kathy, because I talk myself out of things on a personal level, right? So I'll go into, I'll say, right, okay, I'm going to meditate and I need to have a meeting with my guides. Are you there? So off I go and I sit. So I'll be sat in the secret garden where I go, and I'll be having a conversation, and they'll answer me. And then I come out of meditation, and then I'll phone up my best friend who's also a medium, and I go, I've just meditated and I've spoken with White Eagle and the rest of the team, and they've told me this. Yeah. Well, no, I think it might be me answering myself. The hardest thing is about trusting when it's about ourselves, getting guidance for ourselves. So if people out there can really start to build that trust and know that, you know, you have no reason to sit in meditation, ask questions, and then to answer yourself. You have no reason to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, scientifically, we go in and we're asking these questions because we genuinely want answers, or we want the inspiration. So don't do what I do, come back out and go, nah, you know, that's ridiculous. I've just answered myself. Because what happens then is my guides then have to bring it to me another way. I'm lucky that they can, but a lot of other people won't be able to get that contact initial. So please, if you sit in meditation, just trust what you're being told. Just trust it. You know, don't talk yourself out of it.
I love that. I love that. You know, I am so grateful to you.
Been a pleasure.
I feel like Spirit is leading all of this work, because I feel like I don't have to do too much work to reach out to people. I'm being referred, and people are saying, you need to talk to this person and this person. I'm like, okay, I absolutely will. And so again, when you said, you know, I'm not sure if you're interested, I'm like, oh no, I absolutely am. Because in this interview, you've explained so many different areas with physical mediumship. So many people have all these questions. And, you know, when I started—
It's kind of a bit of it was a quick rundown, really, because there are so many different aspects to it.
Yes. And, you know, when I started this group, I don't have all the answers, but I wanted to—
Neither do I.
Well, I barely have any answers, but I know that members can contribute to help others. And, you know, I do believe that the reason why this is happening is to help the future mediums.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, future. And this is going to be a great, all these interviews, all this knowledge coming forward, because it's like you said, you had to Google, what is physical mediumship?
I hadn't got a clue.
Yes. And so we have everybody, you included, coming in, sharing their knowledge. So they could look at this interview and just go, okay, this is a starting point. Now I understand.
Yeah. Hopefully it will inspire others, you know, that do have the right physicality, or who actually genuinely just want to help another physical medium develop.
Yes.
And if I inspire one person, then it's a good interview.
And I love that. I love it, because even with these, whoever is drawn, whoever is supposed to watch this, because, you know, they're that physical medium in the making, they don't know about it. They're going to go, oh my God, I think that's, you know, so that's why I wanted to do this, for those, the future, you know, to help them out.
Well, do you know what, Kathy? My guides keep telling me I'm going to America.
Really? Oh,
so we may get to meet in person. Who knows?
Goodness. Yes, that would be wonderful. And when
so I keep being told.
Oh my God. Well,
I don't know.
Well, we are friends, so I know when that happens, I'll be like, okay, where are you going? So, oh my goodness, thank you, Joe, so very much.
You're welcome, Kathy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you again. You have a fabulous rest of your week.
Thank you, and you.
Thank you.